The ANC went into this GNU hoping to destroy the DA. They went into it hoping once these guys are inside, we are going to work out mechanisms and strategies to destroy them. Government of national unity, no. It is actually a government of enemies. If you are interested in South Africa's stability, relative stability, you have to support this GNU thing because in its place, it's chaos. Insult, hate, love, AFRIFORUM, if you like. Forces like those will become more active. What has happened, what the DA has done, let me say this publicly, it's good. It's excellent. Because you see, the way the ANC used to do it, this is how they used to do the budget thing.
Guys, our man Prince Mashele is actually back again, dropping bombshells back to back. In this video, he is actually breaking down the fact that, South Africans have to fight with tooth and nail. We fight with everything they have to protect the GNU, because he argues that if you remove the GNU from South Africa, what automatically comes to South Africa is chaos. All right. He argues that although that the GNU is a government of enemies, because he actually argues that the ANC and the DA actually have historically and seem to still be in a pursuit to completely destroy each other. And I see that, in the debate, in the last video I made where Dr. Mike Burke and Goli of Newsroom actually have been debating the ANC stance on the budget, that the DA doesn't want any increase in budget, increase in taxes anymore, but the ANC still insists that, increasing the VAT, on the South African taxpayer is the way to go. And so this enmity, so to speak, according to Prince Mashele, is actually what the GNU is made of. He argues that the GNU is a government of enemies, but one thing they all have in common is that they really understand what is waiting on the outside of that enmity, so to speak. And so as a result of the external threat, that enmity must become, or so to speak, form into a sort of like a friendship for what he argues is the next 15 years. So let's quickly listen to Prince Mashele argue why South Africans must never expect a party that would be a majority for the next 15 years, and why South Africans need to get used to coalition governments like this in the GNU. And I'll be back for some more thoughts, interesting thoughts on what he has to say about South Africa and the GNU.
What then does our immediate future look like? If we agree that the hegemonic force is exiting, which is the ANC, then what does our immediate future look like? We have entered a period of political chaos. This period of political chaos will last for a minimum of 15 to 20 years. I'm 49, so I've already priced that into my life, that I'm going to live in that kind of a space. I'm going to tell you what I see. And you remind me after 10 years, said, this is what you said. There is no single political party that is going to win an outright majority for the next 15 years. 2029, no one party will be a majority party. After 2029 is 2034, no single party will win a majority. And I've worked it out in terms of 2029. 2029, for example, the ANC will cross the 30% mark going down. As it goes down, it will meet the MK going up. If Zuma is still alive, the MK will grow. But let's park that aside. So we must get used to coalition politics as the order of the day. And by the way, this idea of coalition politics, it's scary to us, especially if you don't have a sense of historical perspective. If you do have a sense of historical perspective, including, by the way, a sense of current perspective. Take Germany, by the way. I mean, the Chancellor of Germany, what percentage did he get? 28%. Didn't cross 30%. But there will be a stable government in Germany. The previous chancellor, what percentage did he get? 20%. There was a stable government. in Germany. So this idea that coalition government is the end if you do not have mature politicians in your society. But if you have mature politicians in your society, actually it may not be the end. It can work. But unfortunately, our politicians are immature. So our coalition politics is going to be very chaotic. So 15 years, 20 years, coalition politics. The fourth observation is that you will see a rise of activity on the part of non-state actors. They will jump into the vacuum. So insult, hate, love, AFRIFORUM, if you like, forces like those will become more active. And by the way, it's not only AFRIFORUM, there will be many that will jump into the vacuum, trying to protect their sectional interests. So we must get used to the idea of Operation Dudula, jumping into, causing chaos from time to time, and another civil society, whatever it is. So we're getting into that space where, because there is no hegemonic force, everyone, they claim whatever piece of power they think they can claim. That's where we are going. So non-state actors will jump into that space while our political parties are fighting. And the fifth, so this is the framework. The fifth is that the economy will not flourish. Under an environment like that, it's not possible for an economy to flourish. There will still be an economy, there will still be business, we'll still be eating. As long as there are human beings, we'll eat, right? The economy is going to be very difficult to do business. So you'll have gangsters operating. I mean, they're already operating. I mean, the so-called construction mafia, the so-called business forums in communities. I mean, those are gangsters. So what I'm talking, and I didn't create this, I'm just telling you, I'm a mirror. So don't say, but this guy is doomsday. No, but I'm telling you what is happening. The construction mafia, if you are, whatever business you're doing, mining, you have to jack up your private security because they have to deal with these thugs who want a stake of what you're doing. Mike will remember, I said when the GNU was formed, this is the best thing for South Africa under the circumstances. I said it. And I don't take back my words. I still believe this is the best thing that happened for South Africa under the circumstances, and underline, under the circumstances. If you want to see an alternative, just remove the GNU and imagine the other arrangements that would be there. You will realize we would actually be in trouble. So the GNU is still the best thing under the circumstances. And if you are interested in South Africa's stability, relative stability, you have to support this GNU thing, because in its place, it's chaos. So what will be the alternatives? It would be the EFF plus the ANC, the EFF, the MK party. If you look at the arrangements, it would be really, really chaos. So, but there are certain things we must acknowledge about the GNU, and we must not be naive about it. It is actually a government of enemies. Underline this. Government of national unity. No. It is actually a government of enemies. The ANC went into this GNU hoping to destroy the DA. Yes, they went into it hoping, once these guys are inside, we are going to work out mechanisms and strategies to destroy them, we'll weaken them. That has been the guiding attitude of the ANC, will destroy them. The DA also didn't go into the GNU to strengthen the ANC. No. it went into the GNU to weaken the ANC. And both of them know that that's the agenda. We're going in, now we have found them in a corner. We'll teach them a lesson. So we must expect, therefore, that there will be no unity of purpose on the part of this GNU. So in other words, the GNU is not going to move in a clear-cut direction where we are happy and say it's moving, we are now following, our leadership is moving in this direction. No, it's not going to happen that way. Throughout its term, it's a tug of war. They will be pulling in different directions. But they recognize one thing, that they must not break it apart. They recognize that we must not break it apart. And I'll tell you, it will break apart, and I'll tell you how and when. So it's not going to break apart this year, Mike. I've seen your thing. You said this thing must end. It's not going to end this year. It's going to end in 2028. And I'll tell you how it gets there. So until 2028, this thing will stay, pulling in different directions. The budget, will it pass, Davi? Yes, it will pass. On the 12th of March, the Minister of Finance will present a budget, which will be a compromise budget. There will be no 2% VAT increase or anything like that. It will be a compromise budget. The ANC will now understands that they have to negotiate. And by the way, what has happened, what the DA has done, let me say this publicly, it's good. It's excellent. Because you see, the way the ANC used to do it, this is how they used to do the budget thing. And Davi is right. The Minister of Finance would prepare this and that, talk to the president about it, and they agree on the details, this and that. The president will always be kept posted. The comrades of the ANC would not be told about it. And then the morning of the budget speech in Parliament, the caucus is convened. And then the minister will be taking through the caucus of the party, the budget. And then the chief whip has been briefed to marshal the forces. No one will cause trouble. And then the 2 o'clock, the guy walks, he presents the thing, the ANC caucus claps hands, whatever the minister. The party was actually not involved in the development of the budget. That's how it used to. So they had the numbers, and then they vote for it. It passes. Whether it's good for society or not, that's how it used to be done. This time around, there are people in the boardroom who put on brakes and say, no, you shall stop. You will not proceed, which is good. We want that. Those are checks and balances that we need as a society. Otherwise, imagine if the DA was not there. There was going to be a 2% VAT increase. We would scream, kick the poor. There was going to be a 2% VAT increase. So the fact that we've got the DA in there, it's good. So the budget will be passed.
Yeah, guys, so you've heard it for yourself. Prince Mashele is always really sharp in his analysis. And he actually argues, like you could hear now, how because of the fact that, South Africa will be seeing much more coalition politics for probably, he argues, in the next 15 years, that, South Africans must brace up for more gangsterism, more what he calls tension, so to speak, political chaos and all of that, because of the lack of unity in vision. We already see it right now. The GNU is really confused as to, not confused per se in a negative light, but, it doesn't really know. The GNU isn't really, we cannot say that the GNU is actually facing either East or, in its friendship with Iran or, other Eastern countries, so to speak, or West, whether it's a friend to the US or whether it's a friend to the EU. Although today I read that, Ursula von Leyen, who is actually the EU, this is the EU Parliament. So she's in South Africa, or there's a South Africa EU so the colloquium going on, and I think I'll be making some videos on her speeches anyway. But it's really unclear how the GNU wants to really relate with that, with East or West, so to speak. And so because of that disagreement, so to speak, in their visions, Prince Mashele argues that South Africa would actually still continue to experience a relative number of 15 years of political chaos, and that South Africa would need to expect more of AFRIFORUM, more of solidarity. These are kind of like private non-state actors, you know, in pursuit of their own ideals for their groups they represent in a South Africa that is actually governed by a kind of like a coalition. All right, and so that's a really important information, you see, because, you know, Kali Krel and Solidarity seem to be scapegoated now in this season. But, you know, what then happens in the next 3, 4, 5 years when, if what Prince Mashele argues comes true, these other non-state actors who will be cropping up, how would the government need or wish to treat them, or probably what it might then call, so to speak, a confirmed state of treason in that regard. So these are kind of like really important food for thought for South Africans going forward. And like, you know, South Africa, Prince Mashele argues that the GNU members understand that they have a common enemy, and I think this enemy now would be Zuma, probably the EFF and other left-wing parties. And so as a result, the GNU must continuously push, you know, on you know, its vision to really try to really help and improve the economy of South Africa, which is really challenging because the economy has been decimated for a long time, and so there's really not much the GNU can do. But anyway, as long as the GNU, from what I'm observing with the likes of Peter Grunwald at Correctional Services, the likes of Dean Macpherson in you know, the what would that be now? The area with infrastructure anyway. And some of these really effective ministers from the DA and other parties taking charge, Tabisa of IFP taking care of the traditional issues. The GNU has shown itself to have prospects for growth and stability in South Africa, and also the fact that it has been able to ward off what many have condemned to be the alternative that would have brought doom to South Africa. That's the left-wing party, so to speak, and all of that, pushing South Africa, not necessarily because of the lack, probably economic intelligence and all that, but the fact that South Africa would now be pushed to the left and probably resulting in a capital flight by Western investors who have actually been investing in South Africa for a long time. So Prince Mashele is actually warning that South Africans should do all they can to really protect the GNU despite its failures and all of that. But anyway, I'll be stopping here. I don't want this video to be too long. What do you guys think about Prince Mashele's speech in this video here? Really powerful speech in this State of the Nation breakfast, you know, seminar, so to speak. Share your thoughts, guys. Share your thoughts in the comments.